how long it's been, and I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, but I think I remember seeing November. I don't know
I
the exact date, but I remember it might be November.
I wouldn't doubt it. Time is flying by so quick,
I
and
know, I know.
jeez, I mean, so we all. Let me tell you, I watched it. I'm you know my review. You know where I stand with your new movie Starfucker. Um, the ratings, I have not seen anybody, especially on IMDb. People are just so fucking finicky, and they go in and they rate stuff before the films are even released. But
Oh, I
your
know.
rating is authentic, it's organic, and it's near 10.
You know, this is the one thing. You know, obviously the title itself. You know, we went back and forth. This was a project that was, um, created and produced over the last handful of years because when Hollywood, went through the whole Me Too movement, we were in the middle of shooting this movie. So we got a little scared, to be honest with you, because one about Hollywood. It's very difficult to make a movie about Hollywood and come out on top. There's a fine line with how you can offend Hollywood and talk about the topics. So we shelved it for a handful of years, man. I mean, the movie sat for about 3.5 years, and initially the movie was more slapstick. The conflict wasn't the same. You know, we had to go back in and kind of reorganize the path of this film, of where it was going to go. With what did we want to really come out of this, and what did we want to teach from it, or what journey did we want to take Jimmy on? So it became kind of what it is in the last year and a half. I mean, because we started, back in 2017 or 18, and then shelved it 19 and 20, and then we had an investor come in, and we reshot about 60% of the movie. So it went for it's like a kind of a three genre film. I mean, it's a dark comedy, a comedy, and drama. So it's kind of at that time, especially then, it's hard to place what to do with the movie, especially with that title. So we had shopped it a bunch. We got a lot of interesting feedback. We never really heard anything too bad about the film as far as like the content, the title, until really the end. A few bigger distributors wanted the film, but wanted access to possibly change the title. And we were so set on the title, kind of raising eyebrows to a certain degree. I mean, there's a handful of projects I think that I've seen and I've researched that have been called the same title. One was a series, and I think another was back in the late '90s. But nothing since then for a film that's had any sort of like any gravitational pull to it. So it's interesting. I was worried because putting my name on this and playing the character and kind of taking people on this journey with Jimmy and the kind of things that Jimmy does in the movie or what he goes through. But it's very realistic. I mean, I've lived in Hollywood for over 20 years, and a lot of this life, I've lived. I mean, there's certain things I have not done that Jimmy's done, but the extremities to it are real. And I think that they try to stay away from showing people the truth or what really goes down in Hollywood. Obviously, it's a comedy, so it's a dramatized version of certain things, but we try to stay as real to it as possible and not really hold back and not apologize for what we did. So that's kind of where it stands. I mean, I'm glad people are liking it. I'm really glad. I mean, the reviews have been very good so far. There's always going to be some haters, but of course, we expect that. I actually expect a lot more haters off the top, and it didn't go that way. So we're pretty thrilled about the response so far, and I'm really glad, Steven, that you love it, man. It makes me happy. And in comparison to Hangover, we've been, a lot of people have said a handful of different things, and I've heard The Hangover now. This is like the fourth time I've heard someone that said it kind of reminds me of like some sort of like a comedy classic, like The Hangover mixed in with like American Psycho version, even though he's not killing anyone, but there's this essence of that he kind of persona that Jimmy gives off, and mixed in with Wolf of Wall Street. So I'll take the comparisons, man. I mean, that's not that makes me smile. So I'm glad you're liking it.
I really did, and it was really nice to be able to go to Tubi and to have that access and to be able to watch it and just really feel good because it's a well-respected, highly rated film.
Yeah, I mean, I even the director Mark David, he's over in India right now shooting a movie, so I'm kind of giving him all the updates on what's going on and any of the great PR stuff that we're doing and anything that we're talking about. And he was just like, "Wait a minute, it's getting ready. What?" And I told him, and he's like, "Is it real?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he's just laughing. He's like, "Hell yeah!" So I mean, he's super excited. Like he asked me to do this. I turned him down 5 times. I said, "There's no way I'm playing this role. There's no. I'm not getting blackballed in Hollywood." And he goes, "Man, but you are Jimmy Star." I'm like, and it's funny. I'm like, he's giving me characteristics of who Jimmy Star is. And I'm like, "You think I'm this guy? You think this about me?" He goes, "No, not all of it." He goes, "But you are him. I couldn't think of anyone else to play the role." And finally, after 3 years, because he wrote the actual screenplay. Initially, it was titled "In the Land of Milk and Honey," and he had two options of it: a series or a film, to kind of what avenue to go first with it. But he had written this many years ago, man. He wrote this, I think, about 13 years ago.